Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another amazing episode. Today, we have Jas Takhar with us today. Jas, thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much for having me, man. As a fellow content creator, I know how tough it is to get guests, to bring the energy. I mean, the guys and gals that are taking their dog for a walk and driving right now, they can't see your beautiful face and that smile that you have. But the energy definitely comes through the screen here. And so, just kudos to you, man, because I know how tough it is to put yourself out there and go through that process, man. Congratulations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And for our listeners, I really want them to know how valuable this episode is. And in order to get that across, could you tell us just a little bit about your background? You own and run multiple successful companies. Just kind of give us a little bit of the background so that we know where you're coming from.
Well, I think that the fact that I'm just amazing and so handsome, I think is the number one
I
place to start.
forgot that part. I apologize.
Yeah, look, I'm born and raised in Toronto. The son of a taxi driver and factory worker, so really no entrepreneurial background did I grow up with. But I just saw those two, my dad and mom, like work their asses off every single day. I saw them pinch pennies. It's one thing when somebody tells you got to work hard, but man, when you see it in front of your eyes on a daily basis, you kind of come to realize, oh, okay, maybe that's the only way, right? Not to say that you have to be a taxi driver or a factory worker, but you definitely got to put in the work. And look, man, I understand like working smarter, and I get that, but when you can work hard and smart, I think that's the deadly combination, right? And not that they were very educated. I mean, my father had a grade 8 education, grade 4 education for my mom back home in India, but they never also push that on me. And so for me growing up, I was the kid 6 7 8 years old, put my hand up and saying, hey, can I help with the book sale? Can I help with selling Christmas ornaments? Not that even we celebrated Christmas that much, but can I get out of class? I think that's what it really was, Chris. Like looking back, I
Yes.
just wanted not to learn in that setting. Went to selling newspapers at the age of 12, and that's when it hit me. Like personally, and like I think people hear it as a joke, but I'm not joking. Like I thought I was going to sell newspapers my whole life, because it was like, whoa, I get to do this door to door and get paid for it. This is the best gig in the world, right? Obviously came to realize, okay, this is probably not going to be the rest of my life, but started selling shoes. Not the Al Bundy type, and some of your viewers and listeners might get that joke. It was really more helping sprinters and marathon runners. Went into the banking industry at around 17 18 years old. Barely passed high school. I think the teachers just wanted me out of the school, so they gave me that 51% passing grade. And then I started selling cars, and that was kind of my first foray into commission sales. And I wasn't even actually a car nut, meaning like I didn't have a Lamborghini Countach poster in my wall. I was more of a sports kind of guy. But what I realized is I can learn. I mean, I can just ask the mechanics how these cars work. I can really like read up on the brochures. I can subscribe to Car and Driver magazine or Motor Trend magazine and learn what people are talking about. I can go to other car showrooms, see what the good, like the most effective salespeople are doing, see the ones that are not doing well, take from the good ones, not use what the other ones are doing. And then after about 3 years in car sales, I was like, there's one more rung, for a lack of a better word, on this ladder of in the sales industry that I want to get to, and it being real estate, because that is generally someone's biggest purchase. It's been 19 years, sorry, now that I've been doing that. To kind of tell you, more of a shorter story, I got 60 real estate agents. We help a little over, very blessed to do this, a little over 700 families every single year, out of which I personally probably do about 200 to 250 of them. I do it in a hoodie, I do it in a t-shirt, I do it all in my office. I figured out, and I mean, you're no stranger to this, Chris, but I figured out how to design my business around my life, not the other way around. 18 months ago, because I produce anywhere from 12 to 15 pieces of content a day on all the platforms, had a bunch of real estate agents like, what are you doing? Like, how do you do it? I started to teach them like for free and just give away all the information. But then they came back and said, okay, thanks for all that, but can you just do it for us? Started a company with a separate business partner. Her and I now been at it, as I mentioned, for about 18, 19 months. We have agents that we produce content, and I've come to realize that that's my real passion now, is this sales solution company that we have for salespeople through two kind of arms. There's the media arm where we create the content for the agents, like actually do it for them, implement it, set up podcasts, all that kind of stuff. But I think what I'm probably most passionate is the other arm, which is the education. Like there's programs, there's courses that I get to just like now talk about sales. And I think your viewers and most importantly, your listeners can already tell I like the sound of my own voice. So I can kind of, keep going in terms of when we talk about sales, because it's all I've ever done, man. Like the shelves behind me, if you give me a hammer, like I don't know what the hell I'm doing with it, right? But if you ask me some strategies on marketing and sales, it's my passion. It's what I think about 95% of the time in my business life, for sure.
Yep, that is amazing and incredible growth just building the real estate brand and having that many team members recruited to the team is a huge accomplishment in itself, plus running the content business, plus running the coaching business, and all successful ventures. So kudos to you on that.
Thank you.
Now,
thank you.
The number of different things that I want to touch on there, but I do want to stay on point. So you've got a saying that I see on your social media and in your content and everything that you put out is you don't need more leads. What you need is a better relationship with your database. So can you unpack that and talk about how in your immersion programs and how you work with people to make a better connection with their database so that they're getting more customers and clients from that source?
Yeah, look, I think that there's two different ways to look at this, right? And I talk about it, and this is kind of what I teach, which is there's the mindset around the importance of having a database, and then there's the actual tactics. And so I'll touch on both of them. Number one, in terms of the mindset, is that when you have people that have given you permission to stay in touch with them, that know you, like you, and trust you, the process becomes easier. The process of them doing business becomes easier with you. Now, you have to consistently give them value. And this is where the tactics come in. The tactics are, how do you stay in touch with people consistently and not be pushy? So the tact that I took was, let me just educate. Well, for example, in my real estate company, actually, as well as in the sales solution company, I'm going to give away all the information. So I'm going to teach people how to buy on their own. I'm going to teach them how to sell their own home without a real estate agent. And I'm also going to teach them how to invest on their own, knowing that in Canada, only 2% of people will ever sell their own home. In the States, it's 10% of people. So instead of focusing on the 2 to 10%, I'm only focusing on the 90% of people that I know will use the services. However, they don't want to be pushed to do it. What they want is the education and the information so they can make a quality decision themselves. So I, for example, wrote a book doing exactly that. I don't charge for the book. It's absolutely free. Any of your listeners can take this book and take the ideas and rewrite it and do what they want with it. But I'm more than happy to give away the book to anybody who asks. It's titled Real Estate Intelligence. And in that book, we teach people how to buy, sell, and invest on their own. Again, knowing that most people are not going to do it on their own, they come back to us, not all of them, but I'm going to say to the tune of, say, 80% of them. I have a database of, now that I grew in the last 19 years and cultivated and nurtured, of a little over 11,300 people. All I'm looking for is a 10% return on that investment. Okay. I call it an investment because it's exactly that. I gotta pour time into that database. I gotta pour money into that database through events, educational events, and social events. The time meaning, okay, let's make sure we send 2 to 3 emails, not the buy with us, here's all of our awards, just listed, just sold stuff. And there's a place for that. But I mean true value, like what's the best way to refinance your property? Or telling a lot of our clients at times, guys, I know you called us to sell your property, but damn, did you know that you might be able to hold on to this property and refinance, pull out equity and buy another one? Did you know that now's not the time to sell? Don't sell right now. And here's the reasons why. And so I also have to put time in making phone calls to this database. So hence my support staff, who makes 150 phone calls a day to that group of 11,000. And we're not calling saying the garbage that maybe worked in the 1970s and the 80s, which was, hey, Chris, would you like to buy and sell today? And like, are you thinking about investing or selling? Like, that stuff worked back in the days, right? And what's the chances of the stars aligning that day and somebody says, yeah, I'm ready, right? Well, we do. Yep. And again, it's not ripping me off if I'm telling your listeners to take it from me, like steal this from me, which is, we started a real estate concierge service. So we call and say, hey, Chris, not sure if, you knew about this, or maybe you do know about this, but we have a real estate concierge service. Chris, to you as somebody in our community, it's absolutely free. Okay. And what it is that if you needed a plumber, electrician, a landscaper, a second set of eyes, maybe on a lease agreement, we have the people in Toronto that we vetted out. In fact, our company is called REC Canada because we have a lot of our community is right across the country. So we even say, look, in Timbuktu, Saskatchewan, I'll help you with that. In Nova Scotia, no problem, I have a plumber for you. Okay, and just for everyone online, it's not that tough to build out a concierge service in your area. One of the best sites I've ever come across. I'm not sure if everyone knows about it. It's called google.com. And it's very simple. And all you do is Google the top 15 plumbers in Nova Scotia. Then you pick up the phone and you see who 3 of them sound like they're nice people, and say, Laura the plumber, would you be okay if I send you business? Because I'm a local realtor here. Yeah, awesome. I'm going to send you some business in the future. I'm not looking for any type of cutback or referral fees or anything of that sort. Is it okay also, Laura the plumber, if I get your opinion on the marketing I'm doing? So you put her in the database. That's how you grow the numbers of the database. And then go give Laura the plumber business. Because if you want to make it easier to get business, see, giving will always start the process of receiving. But we're all thinking as loan officers, mortgage brokers, real estate agents, entrepreneurs, me. Unfortunately, the market doesn't give a crap about you. What the market cares about is how much value you bring to the marketplace, which will then be in direct proportion of the income that you make. Forever and ever, your income is in direct proportion of the value that you bring to the marketplace. And so here in Toronto anyways, the biggest real estate board in North America, 76,000 real estate agents in a 75-kilometer radius. In every kilometer, there's a real estate agent. Throw a stone, you're going to hit one. So you have to differentiate yourself. And so the book, the concierge service, the educational events, and then the immense amount of free content I put on socials is exactly how you build your database, cultivate it, and nurture it.
That is amazing. So I want to put a clarifying note in here. So Jas, what you're doing with your concierge service, our company, Connection Incorporated, runs a concierge service for people in the mortgage financial services industry. So
unbelievable.
What we hire people and place them inside companies, and that person makes 150 phone calls a day, talks to 30 to 35 people, and books on average 5 qualified appointments per day.
Wow. So I had no clue. I mean, great minds must think alike, brother.
That's amazing. Well, but I just want to clarify, like, our word concierge is we bring that person. We call that person the concierge that fills the calendar. What you're doing is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But your definition of what the concierge is I have somebody in-house, they're making calls to my past customer database, but the offer to the database, which is the most important thing. Part of your value stack and part of your value add is if you have something that has to do with your home or your finances. If you need a plumber, you need an electrician, you need a financial services professional, you need somebody to drop a will, you need somebody to help you with your estate planning, call us. Don't go to Google, don't go out to unvetted people. Call us for all of the needs of the people that you need, and we will put you in touch with those people. It's brilliant.
Inbound, right? So now we flipped it on its head where we're like, we still do outbound. I actually hang my hat on outbound lead generation, but it's just not cold. We're not cold calling people. Not that there's anything wrong with it either. I don't want to, it's just that's not what we do. It's not in our business model. It's not how we generate leads. I like to call the warm and fuzzies. That's it. Like, It just makes me feel good every day, right? And it makes my team feel that good because they're not being hung up on. I mean, we make calls and people answer our phones. They don't like block us. Very few times in a year does somebody say, can you please stop calling us? Because we're calling and saying, hey, can we go get you? Like, you and I were talking for like 3.2 seconds off air before we started the recording. I was telling you it was snowing here in Toronto. Like, my guys are calling and saying, hey, do you have somebody who plows your driveways? Like, we can catch on to things pretty quickly, right? No, I shovel my own snow. Okay, great. Hey, really quickly, Chris, now that I have you on the phone, you know about the concierge service. Where's your headspace at with all the media noise that you're hearing about the real estate market? So now we go open-ended question to get people talking, and it works like it's not a script per se. It's more just kind of flowing with the conversation.
Yep, 100%. And one thing that I'll add to that, Jas, I'm sure you're doing this already, but the 5-star ratings and reviews. When you're making those outbound calls to your database, it's coming from a place of service where you're either offering an annual mortgage review, you're offering the plumber service, hey, do you have somebody that can plow your driveway? Well, every single referral that you get that you send out to those other referral partners, that gives you another database of people that you can call, and you're using a different script on those people, like, hey, we've sent you over so-and-so and so-and-so. Is there anybody that you've come across that's potentially looking to buy, sell, or refinance? Can we count on you for your referrals? You've got that whole referral network of people and plumbers are phenomenal, because what happens when somebody's getting ready to potentially list their home? They're going to renovate the bathrooms. They're going to renovate the kitchen. They're going to know up front the renovations that they want to do in order to get the house ready to sell. So when you're calling contractors, plumbers, electricians, all of those people, they're some of the first people that are in the door when people are thinking about real estate. It can be a phenomenal opportunity for you to open up a source of referrals from that network that you provided value to first, and then you continually follow up with them.
100%. And then we just take it to the next level as well, where we know that in an area, when somebody moves to a new area, they need a new doctor, they need a new dentist, they need a new car mechanic, they need we go to the next level, right? Like, okay, hey, there's what I call the peripheral business for a transaction. In fact, the number is somewhere near now, close to about $142,000 gets pumped into the economy when somebody buys a new home. Wow. Right? Because the Home Depots and the plumbers and the painters and all that kind of stuff. But there is the local pizza shop. There is the local bakery. There's the local coffee shop. There's the superintendent. I think for the entrepreneurs listening right now, as well as, the real estate agents and loan officers, mortgage brokers, I think what you want to, like, at the highest level, you want to think of yourself as the mayor in the town that you're working. Because we all know what the mayor does, right? In a little city right next to Toronto called Mississauga, we had a mayor who, I think she retired at the age of like 97. Just bless her beautiful, beautiful heart. Okay, a lady named Hazel McCadley, I think it was. Anyways, she was the mayor of the city for, I think, like 45 years. Like, something ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous, up until she was like 95. Google her. I think it was the longest standing mayor in the world or something like that. She was in the Guinness Book of World Records. But anyways, you know what she did every single time a store opened up? She just went to the store and did the ribbon cutting ceremony. That's it. Like, a new school opened up, she was there. She would check in with the people that were coming into the grand opening of the store, which are local people in her city, and people just loved her. That's what I would want for more business people to do. Look at it from that perspective. You got to get in front of people. Why not do it in more of a fun way? It doesn't have to be as hard as people are making out it to be.
Yep, I could not agree more. Now, Jas, one of the things that you do to bring that database together is you host 4 annual events per year in order to bring people together. And I think that that's a major missed opportunity for so many people in our community right now, whether you're a wealth advisor, insurance professional, you're doing real estate, you're doing mortgages, you should be hosting those in-person events. Can you talk to me about how do you decide what you're going to do for the event? And then how do you go through the logistics of filling the event and making sure that everybody has a good time?
Yeah, so I'll start with kind of filling the event. What we do is we start off simply. So I have an event coming up in 3 weeks. Literally, the email went out today. And so it couldn't have been any more timely that we're having this conversation. Events happening in person for in 3 weeks. Sent out the email today. Now my guys are going to get on the phone and invite people in our database. Okay. Again, we don't even go down the path of doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads, which I think is great, like Google AdWords and all that kind of stuff. But I know I've come to realize I'm going to spend 90 to 95% of my effort on the people that already know me, like me, trust me, and have given me the permission to stay in touch with them. Right. And so they'll also tell me about they'll also tell their friends, family, and colleagues and neighbors. So I might as well just keep having a deeper relationship. It's not about width. In this situation, in my opinion, in terms of when it comes to your database, it's about depth. So we're going to pick up the phone and call everyone we possibly can out of this database that I've cultivated and nurtured for the last 19 years. They're going to come and we're going to talk about, we actually do 4 to 6 events. So it's probably 5 because one of the 5 events, Chris, it's a social event. I throw a massive, I like parties. And so I throw a massive event at the end of the year, which is called our Spirit of the Season. We rent out a nightclub, call all of our clients. We usually have anywhere from 500 to 700 people who show up. We tie it to sick kids, get a massive mountain of toys and give it to sick kids. That's the social. The other 4 that we do are all education based. We're not selling anything at these events. We're bringing in other service providers. So the next one that we're doing in the 3 weeks, today, right now, just before I got on the call with you, the Bank of Canada had an announcement for their interest rate change. So it's like the Feds over there in the States making interest rate policies, right? And so that interest rate just went up by 25 basis points, or 0.25%. And so the event is going to be around what all these interest rate changes mean to everybody in our database. We know people in our database are investors, they're homeowners, they're home buyers, they're actually in the process, but we also have a lot of people who rent. And so what do all these interest rate changes mean? Okay, so you said, there's people who are listening that might be like insurance advisors. What I would have an insurance advisor on. Let's talk about the importance of insurance, not just like basic home insurance. We all understand that. Can we talk about life insurance? Can we talk about mortgage insurance? Can we talk about critical insurance? All that stuff, everything around insurance. I'm trying to bring as much value to my clients as I possibly can. I'll bring on a lawyer and talk about wills and estates, not just about the 4 things you need to know when you're buying a home, because that we've done a lot of, but you could do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll also talk about that, the best way to invest into a property through a pre-construction condo or home. I'll do one that is around how to invest your RRSPs. So for our friends in the States, like how to invest your IRAs, okay? Money in your IRAs. How to actually pull out equity out of your property will be another event. The topics are endless. In fact, if anybody who wants, I don't know, find me on Instagram or something. I'm not that hard to find. Send me a message and say that you want my list of topics when it comes to webinars. I'll give you my whole list. I think we have like 36 of them or something like that. I'll send that over to you at no cost.
That is amazing. That is super generous, Jas. Thank you. And amazing. So again, everybody, I want to highlight a couple of key points there. Number 1, they are calling their database. It is not just an email campaign. We have real people on the phones, making phone calls, connecting with people, and making sure that they get the invitation to that event. That is a game changer. Second thing, it's not a sales-based event. It is a value-based event in order to provide value to the database. Because remember, we're never going to be able to convince somebody to buy or sell real estate. They have to already want to buy or sell real estate, and we need to be in front of them at the time that they make the decision to move. And building value and staying in front is the best way to do it. Jas, go ahead.
Chris, I'm going to cut you off really quickly because like what you said was something that I needed to add to it, because I know there's somebody watching and listening right now to us, and they're saying, okay, great, Jas and Chris, like you're going to put on all these events. Where the heck do I make the money? Like, when do they buy? So I get it. Let me really touch on that. What happens is when you put on these in-person events, and you said it earlier, like it's a massive missed opportunity, 100%, especially after COVID. Everybody wants to get out. Like, let's touch people. Like, people are down with that. Like, let's meet people now, right? Not touch people in that sense, but belly to belly. You know what I mean? Where like what happens is the actual sale of the real estate, the sale of helping somebody with a mortgage, whatever product or service you have, whatever product service you're helping people with services around content. You have a digital agency company. If you want to get really good with selling your product or service, talk as least amount as you possibly can about that product and service. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Is that if you can bring value, then the talks after the formal part of the event is done, when you're having a glass of wine, you're having some coffee, is, well, oh my God, Jas, can you tell me about the market, by the way? Oh, Jas, what is that service that you offer? It becomes a byproduct of the relationship that you're building. Like, if you really want to get good at selling anything, just make it as easy as possible for people to buy. Because to Chris's point, they're really only going to buy when they're really, really ready. Yeah, you might convince and manipulate someone, but you're never going to get their referrals. They're going to feel duped. They're never going to want to introduce you to people. So, in fact, what I would say is stop convincing and start sorting. Sort for the people that are ready to do business with you now, and whoever is not, follow up with them. And then that third bucket would be delete. People who give you the Mickey Mouse at hotmail.com emails, the 967-1111, which is a pizza restaurant here in Canada, who give you those fake numbers, delete them. What do you want them? You're just wasting your time and you're wasting their time. Life's too short for that stuff. Sort for the people that are ready to do business with you now to the next 3 months, and everyone else, follow up with them.
Absolutely. Jas, so much value here. A couple more questions for you.
Let's do it up.
Another thing that you talk about is how to become an advisor to investors. And yes, I believe this is a huge underserved opportunity, underserved marketplace. I've seen some of the top mortgage and real estate companies that grow these massive teams. Their fundamental, like 60 to 70% of the transactions coming through those offices are by investors. So lots of benefits to working with investors. We'll probably unpack that through as we go through the conversation. But when you do your intensives and you bring people in, you teach these whole things, you have a whole section around just becoming an advisor to investors. Can you unpack that strategy and talk to
100%.
How you put that into your business plan?
Yeah, look, I think in real estate specifically, and the mortgage advisors and loan officers are kind of like the cousins in our industry. So it's always the same, right? Like, I mean, the person who's there listening as a loan officer right now, it's the exact same for you. Most people in Canada and the US turnover in terms of buying and selling a property, it used to be 5 years. I think it's safe to say like every 7 years, especially if you just drive by Home Depot or a Lowe's on a weekend, they're packed. And that's usually for people doing renovations because they're staying in the properties longer. So if you now know every, call it 6 years, you're possibly going to get a transaction from somebody, which is nice, and you'll still get referrals and introductions. But what if I could tell you, you could do 1 to 2 deals with the same person every single year? Because an investor is always thirsty for a couple of things. Number one, they're always wanting information, education, and knowledge of what's happening in the market. See, a home seller only cares about your 3 tips on how to stage a home when they're selling a home.
That's right.
A potential home buyer only cares about the best way to get a mortgage when they're thinking, about getting a mortgage. If they're not thinking about it, they don't care. But an investor, they care when the interest rates go up, interest rates go down, when there's new policy, okay? They're also I think 99% of the world, and like I don't have a scientific fact to back this, but I think you'll understand where I'm coming from, and want to create wealth and get out of the rat race.
Yep.
Now, real estate is not necessarily the best investment in the world, but I think it's safe to say, and nobody will argue with me on TikTok, because that's where kind of the hate sometimes comes on, and I love it though. I love it. I think it's safe to say that 99% of people would say real estate is one of the ways that you can get out of the rat race. And so people are always wanting to get the knowledge and they're thirsty around it. And then when the investor invests into real estate, what I've come to learn now, and out of the 19 years that I've been doing this business, it's been 10 years I've been heavily focused on real estate. Your numbers about that 75% of when bigger teams is bang on. We're probably closer to 85% of our business is with investors, okay? When they get hooked on investing once, they want to do it over and over and over
Yes.
again, and becomes the best drug in the world. They just want to they get addicted to it. I want more, get me more. You always have the obstacle that you need to get around, up, over, under, through, which is financing, but that's part of the game. But then there's strategies, doing joint ventures, raising capital, there's strategies around that as well. And so for me, focusing on this for the last 10 years, I have people who buy multiple properties in a year. They're thirsty for the knowledge. They want to answer my calls. Oh, and because humans usually hang around other similar people to them, their friends and family generally want to get into investing into real estate. It became the no-brainer approach for my target market. Oh, here's one other thing I'll add as well, that when you're the advisor and not the salesperson, what happens is that when you're in conversations with Ali and David, and you're in a conversation about helping them advising them about real estate, they also tell you about the peripheral. Jas, can you also help my niece? She wants to buy her first condo. Oh, Jas, can you help my nephew? Or my uncle, he's thinking about selling his home. So top of the funnel is becoming the advisor to the investors and letting them introduce you to all the peripheral. So I just don't chase buyers and sellers, because there's so many people working in that field. There's so many people chasing the buyers and sellers. I get my buyers and sellers from my investors.
Yes, 100%. I could not agree more. And becoming a thought leader in those, like the Facebook groups, there are investor meetups in every single city and all across North America. These investors are easy to find. They're all networking together. And when you have thought leadership and products that can help them reach their goals, you become incredibly connected in a very short period of time. I cannot stress that enough. Now, Jas, again, thank you for being so generous with your time. I've got one other question. At the beginning of the interview, you dropped that you're dropping 12 to 15 content pieces a day on social media. Some people's heads are going to explode at that number. How on earth do you produce that much content?
I'll tell you the quickest hack to do that. Produce a podcast like we're on right now. Do it, have the conversation for a minimum of 30 minutes. If you can go longer, that's great. Do it twice a month. Okay. If you're really ambitious, do it once a week. But that one conversation of 30 minutes, you can take the full recording and put that out on YouTube, which is through video. You take the audio, put that out on a piece of on a podcast distribution service. You go back to that 30-minute video, clip 4 to 5 clips of something that was said that was interesting, either by yourself as the host or the guest. You take the audio, throw that into a transcription software that gives you a full blog of every single and ah that was said. Delete the ums and ahs, because from a blog perspective, it looks neater. You take little paragraphs, throw that on Facebook and LinkedIn. You take screenshots of those paragraphs, put that onto Instagram, take 140 characters, throw that on Twitter, go back to the video, take screenshots, take still images, and put little quote overlays to go on Instagram. You will find how quickly you can take a 30-minute conversation and get 12 to 15 pieces. Now, what you can also do, which is very, very easy, is every single day whatever tip you think would be valuable to someone in your target market, not the come buy with me, use my digital agency service. How about the one thing that you should do when you're doing your own content? That's the tip.
Yep.
Or how to sell your own home. Here's one tip. Shoot a video every single day in raw format, because people buy from people, not from companies. You got to get your face out there. That's why I do it. How I do it is from my long form content.
Yep. Amazing. That is super helpful. Again, Jas, thank you so much for being on the show. You provide so much value. Where can people go to find out more about your intensives, your courses, sign up to get more information from you? Where do people go to find you?
You know, I always have a funny time with this, because I have so many, like I'm on all the platforms. I mean, look, here's the best thing. I have an app. It's absolutely free. Okay, there's no cost for it. There's an app that I would like to actually get your opinion on it as well, Chris. If you're an iPhoner, just go to App Store. If you're an Android, go to your Play Store. Type in my name. It's JAS space Takhar, Takhar, and you will see it's an app for video content. I just want people to get a taste of me. If they like me, you'll find your ways to sign up for stuff and get free resources and stuff like that. But if you don't like me, at least you only wasted 10 minutes of your time, and I didn't get you to sign up for anything. And so all my resources and stuff you can get from my app.
That is amazing. And we will have that in the show notes below. To all of our listeners, don't forget, wherever you are, make sure you hit us with a like, a comment, and share this on your social media channels, because rising tides raise all ships and we can all benefit from this information. If you're on your favorite podcasting platform, make sure you head on over, give us a 5-star rating and review. That helps us get more incredible guests like Jas on the show. So Jas, again, thank you so much for being on the show today, and thank you for all the knowledge.
Thank you for having me, brother.